start this. This is good. All of you are in the, so you know, all of you are in this Ultimate Weight Loss Challenge. So, this is your competition, I guess. Not really. You don't need competition, do you? It's hard enough competing against yourself. So, here tonight we wanted to talk about detoxing and the importance of detoxing in weight loss. Sometimes we reach some levels where we get stuck, and sometimes, Brittany, detoxing is an important part of that, so that we can break through that level of being stuck. So we will. This is what we would call nutritional stress. Stress is the problem. This is a big problem, obviously. It's a big hamburger, so that's a big problem.
It's mean for you to show that, isn't it?
Okay, hopefully for some of you that doesn't make you hungry and run out of here and go home. It's supposed to do the opposite. How are you doing? Are you feeling good about what you've done so far, weight loss wise, and you're making some progress, most of you? Okay. Most of you will reach a point where you stop, or it doesn't go like you want it to. And there's answers to that. So don't get discouraged there. Just be aware that you don't know the answer yet, but there's some answers. Okay. An important thing that we need to talk about is acid and alkaline ash foods. Some of you know this concept. When food is digested, I gave you a handout on this, there's an ash that is left over. Just like burning wood leaves an ash, this ash that's left over when you digest food is of two kinds. It's either acid or it's alkaline. Which kind do you think we need? Alkaline. Our bodies need to be alkaline to survive. They don't need to be acid. So it's the alkaline ash foods that we need. And this is a chart of some of the common alkaline ash foods and some of the common acid ash foods. So you have a copy of that. And if you notice, you've probably enjoyed which foods the most? The acid ash foods, yes. And those are the ones that get us into trouble. They make our body acid, and we're going to use the word acid and the word toxic interchangeably. So being too acid is the same as being too toxic. So doing too much of this side makes you too toxic and creates problems, all kinds of problems. So here are three toxic indicators. Here are three things. There's more than three. We'll talk about three others, or some others. But here's the first three. Stiff and sore in the morning. If you get up in the morning, you feel like an old lady or an old man, whatever, you're stiff and sore in the morning, that's the first one. Any of you experienced that?
Does it count if you are old?
No, it does not, because you're not old. Okay, stiff and sore is not due to age. It's due to what you're putting into your body. I don't care how old you are. You might be slow when you get old, but the stiffness and soreness is not age. Arthritis is not age. Okay, here's the second one. Headache. Headache's right here, behind your eyes. That headache right there's a toxic headache. So what I mean by that? Too much of what? Too much acid, too much of the wrong foods, and it'll give you this headache right there. Any of you ever have a headache right here? You do right now. Okay, as we talk about detoxing, we're going to talk about cleansing symptoms, and so hold on to that. We need to answer why you would have a headache when you change your diet too. And here's the third thing that we often can happen if we're getting really toxic or really acid, you'll smell ammonia in the urine. If you smell ammonia in the urine, that's you've gone overboard. It's too acid. Ammonia is like a switch that the body throws. It doesn't normally make ammonia unless it has to, and that only happens when you're too acid. All right. Now, the more acid you get, the more likely you are to have some eventual health problem. So look, this is the top 10 reasons people die in the United States as of 2000. Heart disease, cancer, stroke, and so on. Is there any one of those up there that may not be related to being too toxic? Accidents, unless you're drinking something and you have an accident or something. But okay, so an accident wouldn't be anything else there. Alzheimer's, that's a good question. Alzheimer's is definitely a toxic condition, an acid condition of the brain. They able to do scans of the brain, and it looks like the brain is actually hardened, calcified. There are, the more toxic or more acid a person is, the more likely they are to develop Alzheimer's.
What about blood poisoning?
Blood poisoning, it depends on where it comes from.
With influenza, because that's something you catch.
Influenza's a little more on the germ side, catching something. However, if your body's resistance is up, the chances of catching it go down. So, as we talk about being too toxic or too acid, we're talking about health. It's not just about weight. But the more acid you are, then the more likely you are to gain weight. And we'll cover that in a moment. Now here's a nice little chart too that shows, the red shows the percent of death in these countries from heart disease and cancer. The green shows the percent of calories from unrefined plant food. So what that's saying is, if you look over the United States, we have almost 80% deaths from heart disease and cancer, and the amount of unrefined plant foods are down not quite 15%. Come over to Thailand, you look at all of the plant food they eat, and you look at the less death from heart disease and cancer. So something, again, we're looking at health here. I know you're focused on weight loss, but long term, you want to be focused on health. Okay, there's a way we can actually test how toxic you are or how acid you are. We do that with pH paper. That's this stuff. Are you familiar with litmus paper, pH paper?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so this, you rip a strip off of this and it turns yellow, or it is yellow, it's a yellow strip. I don't have any open here, but you can check your urine pH. The urine shows what your body's getting rid of. It's a waste product. So you can check your urine pH, and on this scale here, the urine pH we want to be 6.4 or higher. That's the alkaline end. If it's down here at the 5.5 end, that's the acid end. So from a health perspective, this is very, very valuable. You can use this, monitor what you're doing, you can see changes that are going on in your body, you can see if you're getting more alkaline or more acid by checking your urine pH. So a very good little tool to use. We sell that for $14 a roll. It's a great little tool. Okay, so that's some of the main things when we talk about being toxic. We didn't get into, there are some other things like artificial foods, dyes, preservatives, those kinds of things that make you toxic as well. We're focusing mostly on the acid, but there's a lot of other things we can put into our body that make us toxic. The other thing that contributes is if our foods if they're empty, if they're deficient. So on this one right here, you have food A and food B. You'll see food A has vitamins and minerals in it. Food B doesn't have any. So, which food do you think you would want to eat to be healthy? Food A. Do you know what food B is, just by looking at
Water?
it? Water's close, but not quite. It would be sugar. And food A is sugar cane. So you take the sugar cane, it's got nutritional value, you convert it to sugar, and it has no nutrients in it. It has energy in it, carbohydrate to burn, but no food value to it. So empty foods are a problem. And here's a little chart showing the concentration of different foods. And as far as nutrients go, so if you take kale and spinach, they are very, 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 very high in nutrients. Vitamins and minerals, phytonutrients, antioxidants, all the good things. That's why you just love to sit down with a bowl of kale, right? That's your favorite thing to do. Whatever kale is, right?
Yeah.
At least you probably know what spinach is.
Fresh, a bowl of fresh spinach is really good.
It is. It is. But nutritionally, if you look at the number or the quantity of nutrients in these foods, and as you go up the chart, we get less and less. Until you get up to something like oil and sugar that have really nothing in them other than calories.
I heard that lettuce don't have nothing, unless you get romaine or
Yeah,
something.
the iceberg lettuce is pretty deficient. But yeah, if you get romaine, romaine is, I'm not sure when it says lettuce there, that may be romaine right there. But it's up there pretty good. So most of your animal products, we talk about needing animal products, but they're high in protein, fat, but not high in nutrients, other than the basic nutrients, but none of the phytonutrients and antioxidants and so on. Okay, so now if we understand that, just so we had a little basis to get you grounded a bit, what is hunger? Why do we eat? Bored is a good reason we eat. Stressed is a good reason we eat. Anyone eat because they're hungry?
Stomach growls. but-
Stomach growls,
Tired.
tired, get a headache,
I get shaky.
shaky,
A little moody.
moody. You've hit on some of the major things that happen when our body's toxic and we don't put something in there. A headache, we get irritable or moody, shaky, growling stomach. Those are tired. Okay. When we're eating the wrong things, how do we fix the shakiness or the headache? What do we have to do? What solves that?
And we usually want something sweet.
Okay. You want something sweet. You need to eat something.
Something fast is nice too.
Something fast. When our body is too toxic, here's a good thing to know. It's hard for you to go without eating, because as long as you put food in, as long as your body